Guys, this is Captain Fu reporting for duty, and today I want to talk about beginning recording studio mistakes. Well, everyone, I've been running a recording studio for around 25 years, and I have to be honest, I still make a lot of mistakes. We all do. They're a learning experience. We all make them. My goal here is not to be mean to anybody in particular, but to share some tips with the community. I know I've made my share of mistakes. Matter of fact, if you don't mind, share some of yours in the comment section below, as well as maybe some great studio tips. I recently saw an advertisement for a recording studio, and I thought, man, this person could really use some advice. So I contacted them. The person claimed to have over 10 years of engineering experience. Either this was a complete lie, or they really needed better instruction. So looking at the advertisement, I noticed that the picture that the person provided, it was really blurry, and it did not help them at all. First of all they showed was a picture of their computer monitor with the recording screen up. A studio should show potential clients an environment that they're going to be recording in, so they know if it's a good fit for them. Well, next, the picture that was showing the software had not even been purchased yet. It still showed that it had an evaluation license. An evaluation license. The person was using Reaper. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Reaper. I use Reaper all the time. I think it's fantastic. But if you're going to be using it for professional purposes, pony up the $60 for crying out loud and actually pay for it. It's not that hard of a thing to do. Let's use the software legitimately. If you're trying to show that you're a professional, at least show professional software that you've paid for your license, for crying out loud. It's just ridiculous. For $60 for Reaper, you get a tremendous value. Also, after taking more time looking at that blurry picture, well, I noticed that the track that they showed on there, it was clipped. You could see on the master fader that it went red. And it was obvious when looking at the waveform that was on there as well. It was flattened at many peaks. So you knew it was clipping like crazy. I mean, it was hard clipping really badly, which is a major failure in digital recording. Yeah, if it's analog, sometimes you spank the tape to get a little distortion sound. But this is analog, and in today's day and age using analog, you know that that's nothing but a mess. When looking at the information provided on the advertisement, it said high quality recording studio, charging, ready for this, $50 per song flat rate. Oh, wow, $50 per song flat rate. Here's a tip. Never charge a flat rate. Anyone that has worked in the field of recording for any amount of time knows that you charge by the hour. Some clients can take 8 hours to get a track right. It just happens. Granted, they should practice and never have that happen, but let's be honest, it does. If they don't know their parts like that, like they should, it could take many, many hours. There's no way you're going to be making money with $50 per project flat rate. I remember making this very mistake myself. I was early in my recording career, and I ended up working for over 10 hours for $20. Boy, have you ever made that mistake? If you have, I'd love to hear about it on the comment section below. So anyway, I decided to do a little more investigating on this. I contacted the person, and I asked them to show me pictures of their studio and to inform me of what mics and recording interface they have and how many tracks that they could record at one time. I also requested a few samples of some of their recording work. The studio owner responded and sent me a picture of one microphone. It appears to be an AKG P120, which is an $80 microphone. Don't get me wrong, it's a good mic, especially for the money, but remember, this person has a high quality recording studio. I asked the owner if he had any other microphones then, and the answer was no. I also took a moment to look at the stand. If you look at the stand, I noticed it's not even a mic stand at all. And the mic shock mount was actually taped to the stand that they were doing. Now, I'm not a snob. And the fact is, my first mic stand was on an old vacuum cleaner that I taped a Radio Shack microphone to. Yeah, a Radio Shack microphone, like an $8 one, to a vacuum cleaner. But I never claimed at that time there was a high quality recording studio. Now, the studio's mic is much better than I was using at that time, most definitely, because at that time I was, once again, using an $8 cheap Radio Shack microphone. But a mic taped to a stand does not portray a high quality recording studio. Next, he sent me a picture of his interface, which was a Behringer UM2. It's a single channel $60 interface. Now, I have nothing against Behringer products in general, but a high quality studio should have more than one single input for audio. You can make a great recording, don't get me wrong. You can make a great recording on a really tight budget, but this is a low budget project studio at best. Finally, he never sent me any studio pics. He just said recordings in his garage is what he does, which is fine. But all of the pics that he did send showed me that there was zero sound treatment at all. Any sound engineer at all worth their salt knows with any experience that sound treatment is absolutely essential, especially when the walls were all concrete. It must have been a sound bouncing nightmare. The studio owner did not send any audio samples at all as I requested to show his proficiency. Instead, he sent me a link to another video that says, I record music that sounds like this. Sounds like this. Show me your send me your actual audio file so I can hear what I can potentially get from your studio, because maybe you can do fantastic work from that. But with what I got, there's no way. So there's a big problem. Always have samples of your work to provide when they ask for, as well as pictures and an audio equipment list too that you can see. Well, at this point, I was certain that this is a beginner and recording on the studio. Between the clipping mistakes, all our evaluation license, poor equipment, no sound treatment, and I knew they could use some help. I'm not trying to be mean here. Matter of fact, I'm trying to help these people. I know I've needed help too. I've needed help a lot, and I got a lot of help when I was starting and made a lot of mistakes, and I hope to help them avoid some of the mistakes that I made. That way they could have a good studio as well. So I contacted them and kindly suggested that they use more pictures and pay for the license for the Reaper software, especially if they're going to show it in their advertisement. Instead of responding nicely, the owner told me to send him any song, and he would send me something that he did that was much better. What? But he never sent me any samples of his work, as I asked before. So I told him that I did not mean to offend him, because I didn't. I was trying to help. In fact, I've helped a lot of people over the years, and I've been helped a lot too, and I just wanted to help out and give him some kind advice. But rather than being understanding, he decided to respond with a complete temper tantrum. I won't share what he said because, that kind of language doesn't belong on this video. In my opinion, this should have all been obvious. The person claims to have a professional recording studio and have 10 years of engineering experience. It's obvious the person was not being honest, or they really did not learn anything at all. So always be honest with your customer. That's another tip. Never charge by the project. Charge by the hour. Have samples ready of your work. Have pictures of your studio space. Have a gear list. Yeah, I know it's not always about the gear. I get it. It's not. I use as much budget gear as I can. But I realize you can produce great music with budget gear, but people still want to know what you have, especially for the requirements. If you need to record a drum set, I can't use somebody with a one input audio interface. So always have that so they know what they're going to be able to work with. And always, just like right now, if you leave mean things in the comment, always be looking to learn and embrace constructive feedback. If not, you're never going to grow. Now, I've made a lot of mistakes myself, such as having a project get lost, and I lost all the data due to data corruption, and then my backup failed. So yeah, I've learned to always back things up and double check constantly your backups to make sure that system is still working as well. Another mistake I have done is I had system issues that I had to cancel a client's session to update because of a product update. It caused all kinds of issues. So anytime you ever have a product update, get those done as soon as possible. Double check everything to make sure everything works as soon as possible, because otherwise it's probably going to mess something up. Start at the source of any problem you have whenever you have an issue in your studio and work your way back. Keep it simple. Usually the simple answer is commonly the issue that needs to be addressed. Rather than all kinds of fancy, crazy stuff, check things like the plug being plugged in. Is it a proper connection? Is the cable good? Usually those simple things will save you a lot of time. Always have extra guitar strings, especially bass strings, because, well, bass players somehow seem to think that the only time they need to change their strings is when they break one. And who breaks a bass string? I mean, come on. So be expecting to have to replace strings, especially bass strings, in the studio, because guitars bring them in without fresh ones, bass players do, as well as drum heads and things like that. All right, now there's some tips, and I wanted to share some of the mistakes that I've made too, because I didn't want you to think I was just being a jerk about this person, but I wanted to, we all make a lot of these beginner mistakes, and we still continue to make mistakes. I do as well. I'm not starting there trying to put myself on a high horse here, all right? But I'd love to hear some of your mistakes and some of the things that you've seen too as well. And if you stuck it through this long, thank you, I appreciate it. If you don't mind, hit like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and share this with some others. Maybe we can help out some others in the community. And until next time, keep it frugal.